All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Thursday, June 8th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So, another quiet day. Again, we've talked about this really all week. We thought this would be a quiet week. Not a lot of data. And we did have the jobless claims, and, we kind of upticked this morning off that. And then, we opened flattish, came down, had a slight lower low to yesterday's low, and then we kind of just floated back up here. Again, volume very light. So 45 million shares here on the spiders. It's 3:36 p.m. So not a lot going on. And it's almost kind of like we're right back to the old, the old trade there. So the NASDAQ is green, got back a lot of the losses from yesterday, up 1.18 currently. And it's right back to breadth being kind of flattish to lower. So again, kind of that same tape here where big tech kind of taking over a little bit, Microsoft getting a bid, Google slightly lower here, Amazon having a nice day. Amazon up 2.32%, Tesla up 4.25. That's into some resistance, though. We talked about this yesterday. Very overbought, but, Tesla goes on these runs here. So we'll respect it right now. Again, with the light volume and with not a lot of data coming out, market's just kind of in autopilot. You see we're just hammering on this 430 area. Remember, not all-time high, 52-week highs right there. And then Friday, we don't have any data either. So expect some type of a float. Maybe, maybe just more backing and filling tomorrow. I can't rule that out either. But next week, there's a lot going on. The one thing that did tip my antennas today is AAII came out. And it's not the best sentiment, but it's pretty good. And you're going to see here that the bulls jumped from 29 to 44.5. And the bears fell from 36.8 to 24.3. Which is the widest gap and the highest bull reading, lowest bear reading, widest gap since November 2021. So a huge jump in sentiment, and I've been waiting a long time for this. But now I think the market is finally tipped more so to one side. We take a look at, the VIX. We talked about this a lot lately. Usually if you're going to go into a CPI and FOMC, if you're bullish, you want the VIX kind of being supportive and having a supportive bid, but right now it's down, so it's saying that there's no hedges going on into that, so that is a concern. Another concern too, obviously the TGA runoff starts next week, but another thing too is, or I should say not a runoff but refill, but another thing is too, not a lot of people are talking about this, but the buyback window is closing next week. For one really good example, like, why do you think Nvidia is up so much? Apple, these big tech names that have a lot of capital to buy back stock with, that's going to be going away here in the quarter two. And then we have June OPEX too. So VIX showing a lot of complacency. I know we've said this over the last couple of weeks here, but markets are able to hold up. Again, as long as volume is light, they can hang in there. But, a Fed pause is likely priced in. The Fed's generally not in the business of surprising the market, even though yields have creeped up here over the last week or so. They have backed off a little bit today. If we look at the dollar index, DXY is coming in a little bit. Still no real problems here, just a lot of backing and filling. And the 2-year here you see is a little bit lower, but still, inside of yesterday's candle here. So yields are still holding up. The Fed pause is priced in. So we'll see what we get next week. CPI should be interesting. It's been a nothing burger last couple of months, but we'll see how it goes. The big day is going to be obviously the FOMC, and then really interested to see what happens after that, because the 15th is when that TGA refill starts. And then, of course, we have quarterly quad-witch OPEX on Friday, and I believe the 15th is also when the buyback window closes too. So maybe some of that big tech kind of steam comes out. So we'll be watching for that. But again, really a relatively quiet week and not much to say here. Outside of that, triple Qs here again, inside of yesterday's move. And again, the VIX right now is showing, take a look at the VIX yesterday. It was down 2 cents, with the Qs down almost 2%. Yes, the Russell was green, so that does explain some of it. But it does show that people are fearlessly buying the dip. Like, there's no fear, there's no hedges, there's no desire for hedges, there's no appetite for selling. And again, I think sentiment shows that today. So just something to keep in mind as we get into these volatility events. Russell 2000 down 0.5% on the day. So again, just an inside day. I still think this wants to get to 190, 191. It just looks that way right now. And that's kind of your weekly red bar high there. So that's holding up for now. The diamond here, that did make a slight higher high. So we'll look for 340 there. And then if we can get through that, it's 343. So no real changes there. On the DIA, semiconductors up 1.13, still holding this area. But again, look where it stalled out right into that big red bar, and it's getting some headwinds right there. We'll see how that does. But no real issues here. But it does look, I mean, a lot of these do look very top heavy to me, as I've mentioned before, AMD and NVIDIA being the two biggest ones. IGV here getting a nice bounce after the big sell yesterday, so deep cut yesterday. And a bounce. We'll see what kind of pattern this puts in, and that goes for tech too. Like triple Qs, if we start going sideways here, it could give you another push down, but we'll watch it. I mean, it's only one day, and we got a bounce here, so we'll see what kind of price action we get tomorrow. Again, it's a Friday. Lately, the theme has been big up Thursday, Friday, and lots of big tech call buying has been the theme. We'll see if that happens here. I don't know if we have enough juice just yet to get through this pivot, but we'll see what they do going into tomorrow. Certainly Fridays, that's been the theme lately. Dow Transports here, basically, flat to positive. Yeah, just up 2 basis points, nothing crazy. Again, 14.5. Again, we talked about it, 14.4, 14.5. That would be an area that would stall out. And you can see we just had a little inside hammer here today. We'll see if that puts in a pattern going into next week, but nothing really too new to add to that one. We talked about yields already. Let's look at the 10-year, though. And that was down 70 cents here on the TNX. So a little bit of reversal here, but, it's just a big picture backing and filling, and then smaller term backing and filling as well. I think you had a nice breakout there. And we back tested it, and pretty good reversal today, but this can still chop sideways and go higher. Same thing with the 30-year. Pretty good reversal there, but again, lots of higher lows here and equal highs, so that is an ascending triangle. Just watch for that. All right, over to housing. XHB inside day down 40 basis points. Nothing wrong with that right now. Again, we'll still look for that potentially up to the 77 handle. If and when it gets there, we'll look at it and reevaluate it. ITB, a little bit on the weaker side, down 33 cents. So that was slight outside move down. Not much, we can't make too much out of it. It's on light volume, but ITB backing off a little bit here. We'll see how that reacts at 78 and then maybe 76 if you get through that. VNQ inside day. Again, 84 is good resistance. If you flag, though, there's nothing to say it can't go higher. But, it tried to get through this level a bunch of times and couldn't. So we'll see how it holds up here over the next couple of days to weeks. But, just an inside day there. Again, not a lot going on today, right? So we don't want to make too much more out of it than what it is here. Not every day in the market needs to be super significant. XL left flat as well. Again, little kind of almost identical candle to yesterday. Just a little bit of a hammer there. I still think the weekly picture is not that good. KRE, a little hammer there inside day. That still has resistance at 45, but it's holding up right now. KBE has resistance at 38 to 39, and that's basically the same thing there, inside hammer. Broker dealers, that pushed higher here, so that is actually back above the 100. We'll see. 470 is probably the next level it wants to test. But right now, it's holding up okay. Had a nice little run off the lows. We talked about this kind of 1, 2, 3 zigzag pattern, and that is playing out nicely. So 470 would be your kind of next level there on the broker dealers. Over to crude here. So that's down 2%, but it did come way off the lows with some volume. So it looks like that, the Iran deal kind of threw a wrench into things. We had a pretty good dump there, and it is off the lows. Again, crude's just been in a very tight range. It's like both bulls and bears have trouble getting momentum in this. We've had to try to break down twice. We tried to gap up and break out, and it hasn't worked out. We do have slight higher lows right now, but this is a choppy pattern. I still think it wants to go lower, honestly. The fact that it didn't hold the gap off that OPEC news is kind of telling to me. So later, I think it'll be a big buy, but not until sometime in the second half. XLE stalling out at the 50 MA. If that puts in a pattern, you can have upside to 84 to 84.50. XOP, same thing. We'll look for maybe, if you get a pattern here, we'll look for, 134, 135. And then OIH here stalling out at 280. We know that's been a level there. If that consolidates, that can get up to 290 right now. This does look better than the other two. I do like that outside candle on the weekly, but you still got to get above 280 on a weekly close. And if you get above the 20-week moving average, that would definitely be significant. But right now, we're not quite there yet. Nat gas all over the map today. We had inventory numbers. At first it bid, then it dumped, and now it's back up, back flat to positive. So it's hanging in there okay. Nice pattern here, nice channel. I like that you got above 2283 yesterday on a close. And we'll see if this can work its way back up to that upper trend line there. Dollar index, which we talked about a little bit already. That is, that did get hit a little bit. Slight lower low. It's below the 20-day moving average. You still have a lot of support here at 102.75. And on the weekly, you're still inside of this big green bar here. So again, no real problems right now for the dollar index, but it did get hit a little bit off the jobs number this morning. So jobless claims coming in way more than expected, but yeah, dollar coming in, but no real issues there as of right now. If anything changes, I'll of course let you know. Gold here, obviously getting a bid inverse to the dollar, up 1% on the day. Nothing terrible here. Need to see follow through here to the upside. I want to see it get away from that 20 moving average. I want to see it, when the 20 moving average catches up to price after a big move, it should act as fuel to take you higher. And you've been kind of hanging around here. So it tells me that I'm not saying that it's weak, but it's not as strong as it should be. So just watch for it here. Watch that 20-week moving average. You break below that on a close, then it's headed lower. But for right now, no real problems. Silver here up 3.5, so that's a good move there for silver. This should have resistance right here at 24.50. That's all I've got for it penciled in right now. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow. But there should be some resistance here at 24.50. You'll see what it does if and when we get there. Platinum here lower on the day, down 1%. Nothing really has changed there. And palladium slight pierce, so we're getting close here to palladium. I like to see a little bit more downside, and then it might be something to pick up here. But we'll watch for that moving forward. Copper here, a little bit of a sideways day. Well, I should say sideways week up move, and then now we're sideways there. But it is up 1%. It's hanging in there, trying to consolidate beneath that 20 moving average. I'd give it the upside bias of 390 if it can put in a pattern here. But that's all the upside that I have for it right now. Bitcoin also kind of a nothing burger, like a lot of other things here. Just sitting at 26.6 currently. Not a great pattern here, either bull or bear really. To me, it's all about the weekly. And if you hold the 20-week moving average, just like gold, if you hold the 20-week moving average, it's neutral to positive. If you break it, then it's bearish. It's simple as that. Bitcoin not really doing a whole lot of significance today. All right, anyways, back over to the spiders here. So market set to close in about 10-12 minutes. And we're getting a little bit of a float up here. So nice pop there into the end of the day. We had some consolidation, nice little pattern there. Again, with the volume light, this type of price action should be expected. Again, no real data points again until Tuesday. We'll see how this market trades. Watch that VIX. If this thing really starts to dump out into Tuesday, it's going to get pretty attractive, I would think. Usually when you go into a volatility event, the VIX is up just for pure hedging reasons, and it's telling us that there aren't any hedges right now. So there's something to keep in mind here, but overall we'll see what the weekly close looks like tomorrow on Friday, and then of course we'll draw our attention to next week where we have lots of data coming out. Anyways, guys, gonna wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I'll talk to you all tomorrow.